What is up everyone, welcome back to another Gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at this. As usual, this video right here would not be possible without those awesome people over at HobbyLink Japan, so if you want one of these bad boys of your own, then check out that link down there in the description. So just in case you do not know what this is right here, this is the FORMANIA EX RX-78 GP01Fb, also known as the Gundam Full-Burnern, or Vernian, or as it says here, Burnian. But just for simplicity from here on out, I'm just gonna call it the Zephyranthus. And of course, this is from Mobile Suit Gundam, Stardust Memory. Stardust Memory, of course, is the 1991 anime OVA, and just in case you aren't up to date with your UC timeline, as you can see right up there in the name, it says this is from Universal Century 0083, so that means it falls in between Universal Century 0079, which of course was the original Gundam series, A War in the Pocket, 8th MS Team, and Gundam Thunderbolt. So it falls in between those and the events of 0087, which is Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam. And as for FORMANIA, they're an absolutely glorious line of Mobile Suit busts from Bandai to Machinations. This is my first time taking a look at one, and I can tell you I am beyond hyped. As you can see from the box right here, this thing looks like it is going to be epic. The amount of detailing, opening hatches, tiny little space dudes, all in all, this thing looks like it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So let's not waste any more time, let's bust this thing open and see what we've got. Right inside of the box, we've got a big massive block of polystyrene. Take off the front section there, and we're treated to that absolutely colossal backpack, as well as what looks like a pair of stands. Next up, you're going to need a blade or something to chop it out of this massive polystyrene sarcophagus. But once you get that open, there is the Zephyranthus itself. As for the assembly, it's very simple and straightforward, but I will mention that there are some pins in the attachment point from the backpack to the Gundam itself, so you might want to be careful not to break anything back there, but again, it is very simple. And that does bring me along to the next point. This thing requires batteries, so you need 3 AAA batteries, as well as 4 LR44 button batteries. And this is probably my biggest complaint about something like this. This isn't really viable in the long term. Those batteries will last, what, a day? Less? If you get some good batteries, maybe a few days? And seriously, who has time for batteries? That's a real pain in the butt. Personally, I'd prefer if it was USB powered. Batteries, a thing of the past. As for the LED spotlights, they pop onto the little arms, and I have to admit they put a lot of detail into the arms as well as the bust. These look great. Finally then, they pop into the base. Finally, as for the little space dudes, they come on these little wire tethers. These are made of wire, so they're flexible and hold the pose you put them in, and they can be attached to any of the 1mm hard points on the base, as well as to 4 different hard points on the side of the Gundam bust itself. So finally, there is what this glorious bust looks like once it's fully assembled. And I have to say, this thing looks fantastic. First off, let's give it a full spin so you can take in every little individual aspect. This thing is so detailed. All the tiny little details, all the individual hatches, the lights, the cameras, Vulcans, decals, it has everything. I don't think I've ever seen a Gundam anything looking this good. Of course, before we get into the actual meat of this bust, which is of course the opening hatches and the lights, it's time for a size comparison. This thing is pretty big, but it's not really that big. So first up, there it is beside the 1/44th scale real grade Zephyranthus. And without a doubt, it absolutely eclipses this on every aspect, including price. But although this is huge, it is just a bust, so it's only a few centimeters taller, really. Next up, there it is next to your average sized master grade, which is the 1/100 Granddaddy Gundam. So if you want a general gist of how tall this is, height-wise, it is essentially the same size as a master grade. And once again, even though it goes without saying, the FORMANIA has so much more detail and so much more presence than the master grade, but again, a lot more expensive. Okay, so before we get onto the actual hatches and stuff, there is a little bit of articulation on here. So first off, what we've got is up here at the antenna, it can move back as well as forward. The head, we've got some up and down, and just look at those pistons in there. That looks fantastic. As well as that, we do have a bit of left and right, but we don't have any tilt. The shoulder armors can move a little bit. We do have up and down ever so slightly, but that is all we have. There's no rotation. There's no forward and back as far as I can see. And according to the instructions, we do have a little bit down here at these pistons, maybe a bit of tilt to the front and back. I've tried this out, but I haven't really gotten much luck out of it. The pistons do somewhat move inside of those kind of outer piston sections, but it's doesn't feel great to me, and I'm not really getting anything out of it, and I'm not going to force it. So of course the main event on here, well, besides the lighting, is the opening hatches for these little mechanic guys, of course, to fix up the Zephyranthus. So starting up here at the head, and seriously, just look how detailed this is. The paintwork, everything is absolutely perfect. I said it once already, and I'll probably say it over and over again, and I'm going to say it right now. This is probably the best looking Gundam anything I've seen so far. Well, besides the 1/1 scale unicorn, of course. So as for the opening hatches, we've got one up here on the head camera. That should open up just like that. Just clicks out. It doesn't really move in a flowing movement. It's more of a click. Next, we should be able to pull out this section around here on the back of the head. So let's try popping that out. And there it goes. I closed the head at the same time. So there is the top of the head opened up. The back of the head opened out. Slowly moving that around so you can see what that looks like out. Damn, that's good. We have a couple of opening parts on the side here. The head Vulcan can pull out ever so slightly, as well as the vent on the side of the head here. There we go. That's one side. Flipping around to the other, there is the Vulcan. And then there is the vent. So that is all the parts there on the head that open up. That looks incredible. Moving across to the shoulder now, and even closed up, this looks so fantastically detailed. A whole bunch of really intricate decals on there. The vernier is in a metal color. Is this actually metal? I don't think so, but it looks like it. Just seeing all these little verniers on here really makes me realize why this thing is called full vernier, or vernian, or burnern, or whatever. But anyway, there we go. This part opens up like that. Look at that detail. This little section right here, that should open up as well. This feels fantastic, I really have to say that. You can tell this is one premium feeling figure. Damn, look at that. Even the internal detail looks incredible. And lastly, this little under section, that should pull down as well. Let's get another angle from the bottom there so you can see what that looks like. All in all, again, this is incredible. It looks so good. There is something so absolutely satisfying about this here. With model kits, which usually I review and I spend all my time reviewing them, you build them so you see every... Oh, that moves separately. You see every aspect of the detail as you build it up, so there's nothing really to surprise you. Something like this, it's kind of like unwrapping a present. You get to see all those details in there that you haven't seen already, and basically it looks like a Gunpla if you put hours, I mean hundreds of hours of work into it. That is insane. And try not to forget there is one of those flaps around here in the back. Does that one open as well? No, it does not. It's just on the front, it seems. So no opening flap on the back. So far so good. This thing is absolutely mind-blowing. Next up then, we're moving down to the chest. So let's start off with the cockpit. So you can pretty much see the way that will open up. So that is up here. That opens out like this. Bottom section opens up like so. The whole top here pulls up and open. How far up does that go? Not very. And it might be a little bit hard in there to see. I'm going to try and get a decent angle of this so you can see what's going on in there. And damn, you can see into the core fighter section in there. There's the window, fully painted pilot, everything. Wow. This, I know I keep sounding silly and excited the whole time I'll open these up, but this detail is nuts. Absolutely and utterly nuts. That looks great. So I just took another glance at the instructions there, and this opens up even more. So somehow I must have missed it in the box, but we do have this tiny little grabby plastic claw type thing in here to help with all this pulling apart of parts, so maybe I should be using this. It seems the lower section of this cockpit should pull down even more. There it goes. Look at that. Oh! Let's see that one more time. That whole core fighter is on a mechanism, so it moves in and out with... Oh, that is so cool. Finally then, we can actually get a closer look at the pilot in there by pulling out the cockpit window like this. Damn, look at that. This is a serious, and I mean serious level of detail right here. Next then, we've got the vents in the chest. Simply enough, they open up on the top like this, on the bottom like that, and it looks like we've got even more verniers in here. And if that wasn't cool enough already, on the underside here we've got this tiny little grey lever. So if we push that forward, yeah, out they come. One more time. There they go back in. And there is forward. So let's try and do that around on the other side. And there we go. That is awesome. So it seems that's all we've got around on the front. So flipping back to the booster pods, And just look at that detail again. Incredible. Even all the way around on the back, they've got that crazy level of detail. We do have a bit of articulation back here as well on these massive verniers. That one there, this one here. I don't think we've anything around here. Nope, nothing. So as well as this, which can pull out a little bit, we have these massive opening flaps on the booster pods. Again, crazy detail in there. Of course, on this side, exactly the same. And then around on the front, we have two more of those opening sections. Again, this is absolutely incredible. And before I forget, are these little sections in the center, which pull out like that. And of course, if there's one on that side, there's also one around here as well. There we go. So now that we've got all those awesome hatches opened up, let's have another quick spin so we can see all that detail one more time. Seriously, the amount of internal detail they've put on this thing is beyond anything I've ever seen before on any Gundam, anything. So just like I've said, what, 2-3 times already? This is the most detailed and best looking Gundam anything I've ever laid my hands on. I actually feel bad I missed the new Gundam and the Sazabi, because this thing is incredible. So of course the last thing on the menu here is the lights. So we've got two forms of lights on here, that's the spotlights. They have their own individual switches, as well as an on-off switch for the Gundam itself around in the back, as well as 3 different modes, Mode A, Mode B, and Mode C. So let's check them out. So first off, I'm going to kill the lights. So the spotlights on here are pretty self-explanatory. Like I said before, they can move around on these little arms. There's a quick look at what the front is like, and around on the back we have this little switch, so it just pops on like this, and there you go, spotlight. So the one thing I noticed straight away when I put in a pair of LR44 batteries, which it says to, is it's not necessarily all that strong. It's not that crazy of a light. Let's try in the absolute dark and see. So like I said, it isn't absolutely incredible. Again, I may have pretty shitty batteries, but what I did was I put in some smaller button batteries, which are about half the thickness. And the reason I did that was, well, because I didn't have any more LR44s. And what I got was a much better light out of them. So this could be what it'd be like with proper batteries, as opposed to this one right here. I'm actually going to stick some of those smaller ones into this one, just for the better effect. It may not be the best idea, but let's go for it. So let's try that out now with more than the recommended amount of volts flowing through it. And that is much, much nicer. That looks pretty cool. Let's set one up from the back and see what it's like lit from both sides. So there is what it looks like lit up, pretty much what it is like on the box, and this is one hell of a display piece. Let's try turning these guys off and checking out the other lights, the ones that are inside the Gundam itself. Okay, so now it's turned on and ready to go. So here is the first press. And it seems what we get is the cockpit lighting up. There is the eyes and the head camera. And finally then the shoulder sections. That is pretty cool. Whoa, that's not the end of it. Damn, that looks really damn nice right there. Ha, you could buy this instead of getting a Christmas tree. Finally then the press for C mode. And there we go. I don't know if this actually shows up all that well on the camera, but it's all turned orange around the shoulders as well as up on the booster pods. So that looks so damn good. Once again, all in all, this thing is incredible looking. So that is it for the review, and honestly, I don't really think I need to say anything here at all. This thing speaks for itself. Just look at that glorious piece of plastic. Honestly, I've said it 5, 6, maybe only 4 times, I don't know, times throughout this review that this is incredible looking, and it really is the most incredible looking Gundam anything I've seen already. Now I do feel like I'm going to be in the market for the Sazabi in the new Gundam. Just the level of detail, the paintwork, the decals, everything, the lights on top of it, it is just so incredible. If you do want one of your own, it is a bit on the pricey side, but in my opinion, if you are a Stardust memory fan, this is the one thing that you really need in your collection. Of course, there is a link down there in the description if you want to get one of your own at Hobby Link Japan. As always, thank you very much for watching. Make sure to come back for more Gundam reviews, and I'll see you next time.